Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Prep Life Podcast. This is your founder and CEO of Glam Girl Bikini, Amy Enger. And today I'm joined by my fabulous co host, Lee Marie Jones. How are you doing, Lee?
Good. Good. I'm very excited for this episode.
Yeah, so we're going to do an Olympia recap. And full disclosure, this is probably, I was just saying offline that this is the first Olympia in a long time that I haven't attended or just watched really closely on the live stream just due to family stuff. So I've been, just we wanted to go over, first of all, like some kind of breaking news and some highlights, and then we'll go through what we predicted to be the top 15 in no particular order, and then what it actually ended up being for bikini and some of the trends that are happening as we study the sport and kind of recap everything that's going on. So, do you want to start with just the headline news about who our Mr. Olympia title is and all that?
Yeah. So, Mr. Olympia 2025, Derek Lunsford, regained, so capturing his second Mr. Olympia title. I gotta be honest, I don't follow a lot of categories besides bikini. Um, but I love a comeback. I love when someone recaptures their title. So second in history to regain a title after losing it. I'm sure that's very difficult for somebody like Mr. Olympia. I mean,
Yeah.
maintain that and to make the progress with the up and comers coming up. I mean, that is a huge physique to maintain and get improve. And I feel like continuing to win and win and win is almost like maintaining momentum, but like to come up again and regain it, that's awesome. And then
Yeah, and open bodybuilding.
they increased the prizes, so he took home $600,000 for being Mr. Olympia. So good.
Yeah, it's nuts. And the only person to ever do that before was Jay Cutler.
Yeah.
And so last year, Derek Lunsford got third in the 2024 after having won in 2023. So this was a comeback for him. And then Ramon has just been so patiently, I feel like, waiting for Sebum to retire. However, I think some people thought that Mike Summerfield would possibly get the first, title
Mhm.
after Sebum's retirement and stuff like that. But I was glad to see Ramon because he's just been really like consistent and things like that. So he placed second to Sebum. So he was the bridesmaid, never the bride, in 2023, 22. And then last year he got fourth place. So it was a good year to move up in classic physique because he ended up winning $100,000, which that prize money had increased by a ton. So,
Wow. Yeah. Okay. And then I think the biggest thing that everybody wants to talk about and has been
yeah,
talking about was bikini division had a
yes.
huge plot twist, coming in with former champion Maureen Blanquisco. She staged a comeback that literally shocked us all. And so, especially after, like, when we were talking about our predictions, all we had to go on was her Pittsburgh Pro. And the physique that she brought to the Olympia compared to the Pittsburgh Pro just goes to show you that the tweaks that you can make in bikini can be show to show when you're at that top elite level. You don't necessarily have to go into an off season every time you don't do well at a show. And
Hmm.
I thought whatever they did between Pittsburgh and Olympia was huge. And so she placed third to Ashlyn, who placed second to her at the Olympia. So
Yeah.
Ashlyn actually beat her at Pittsburgh, and then she
And so
beat.
did Amy Delgado. Amy Delgado won it and she got fourth this time. So,
Mhm. Okay, so then this is her second Miss
title. Hmm.
Olympia title. Yep. And then so 2022 was when she won, and then 2023 she got a second place. 2021 she was fourth, and then there was that year that she did not compete. Was it
Was
2024?
last year. Yeah,
Yeah,
2024.
injury.
Yeah,
And I know there
the
was a
ankle
lot of
bracelet.
people talking about that too, about her coming back to Pittsburgh was maybe to like an injury like that. Who knows how long she had to take off of training and stuff like that. So uh,
Yeah.
that was crazy.
Yeah. So all those changes just since May. And I was listening to the recap video with shout out to Bikini Pro News. They do a really good job of coverage. But he was talking about how historically, because he just has like all this information, they do all the pro, like he covers strictly bikini and follows that division so carefully and all the media and stuff like that. And he was saying how historically, and we'll get into this later in the episode about the Laura Lee controversy and all that, with her dropping down to sixth place, which, by the way, no one that's won the title other than Issa has dropped from first to sixth. And it was almost like, we'll talk about that whole thing. But anyway, he was saying that people that don't do like some sort of warm up or some sort of just like litmus test where they just take the whole year off and they put all their eggs in the Olympia basket. He was saying that even like with former champion winners and things like that, people that had done that. Like for example, Jen Dory, she lost her title to Marine because she came in way too crispy. They never ran anything because she went from, having the title, taking a full year off, and then losing the title and then regained it. But I think like it's good to just at least do a show. And I think Marine, that was smart of them to do that in that camp because it's like that helped her know like where she kind of stacks up after taking that time off. So just saying that. Um,
I think the place that actually works was with Sebum because he always did that. He won, so
mhm.
like, in a different category. Like he won, he only did the Olympia every year. You never see him do another show. But with bikini, there's this whole other factor
Yes.
that's not in. Like it's easy for him to look at all the other competitors and gauge, oh, my shoulders are getting bigger, my back is more developed, blah 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 blah. Whereas bikini has so many different things they're being judged on. Like
Yeah. Their makeup, their glam, their suit color, the cut, and it evolves so quickly. And I think, when you look at Ashley Kay, like she had the only year that so she had taken a full year from 15 to 16 and then lost her title in 16 and then almost retired, like had her comeback in 17 and all that. But like you look at her and she's evolved. Like now she's the fit model prototype in 2015. And now she's still placing top five at the Olympia, got second last year. So I think like you really need to be in the mix with bikini. If you take time away from the stage, even as a coach, like your eye, you have to be sitting like butts in the seat at national shows. And like it's so helpful to me, like for my judging and my coaching eye, to be at all of these shows. And I think it's the same thing with bikini. Like if you let yourself get away from it for like a year at most, like it's hard to get back into the mix because it just keeps changing. And there's, like you said, there's a lot of different factors that go into it, like nuances and posing and like even just like people are talking about different jewelry selections and things like that. It's like so splitting hairs at this high level that you have to be in the know. And I think you have to at least run a test run once before the Olympia, my personal opinion. But anyway, um, the Olympia is staying at Vegas next year. So I wanted to tell, they released that breaking news that they're changing the venue. They're not having it as the same one from this year, but that's to be announced. So let's kind of recap. We went over open bodybuilding. We can kind of talk about some notable finishers. We went over classic physique. Men's physique, I think it was no surprise that Ryan Terry got it again. He's just like a beautiful specimen. So glad to see him. Women's bodybuilding, Andrea Shaw, she's won it several times. The Miss Fitness Olympia was Michelle Frudia. Mensha, am I saying that right? I don't know.
yeah.
With Sid stepping down, we had new figure Olympia champ Rhea Gale. And then do you get into women's physique at all? Because I saw this was like kind of a controversial, like,
Well, actually, there was a little bit of controversial with figure. I'm a little bit getting into figure now. I'm not. I'm just dabbling now because I'm a huge
okay.
Misty Trescott fan, and Misty Trescott just moved over to figure. I did love the new Miss Fitness Olympia, and I feel like that was another C-bum situation with Missy stepping down from fitness or switching categories
Uh-huh.
that kind of like opened up the stage for a new person to take over. So that was really cool. But actually, I don't know if you were watching the press conference, but there was a little drama in the press conference because Missy was there as the reigning Miss Fitness Olympia, but then she was talking with all the figure Olympias, and I didn't catch the remark, but apparently Jessica had made a comment about how she was pretty much just there as a rehearsal and
Oh,
was just very confident that she was going to take it because Sid was no longer in the mix. And Missy went on her about how that was very insulting to all the other competitors and all this, and how she was going to be coming for her and all that. And then there was just controversy because Missy did not make top 10, which is fine because or top five, she might have made top 5. I think she made top 10,
yeah,
but
she didn't
she
make top
wasn't
five.
planning she had just switched over. But the one that won it was absolutely gorgeous. Uh,
Yeah.
I don't follow figure quite yet, and then I don't really follow women's physique at all. I
I
was
just know
following.
that Sarah Villegas, or however you say it, Vegas, she was the previous champ, but she had won like
Oh,
5 titles.
Natalia. I do know Natalia. I know that name.
So she, edged Sarah out. So Sarah got second this year, which was a big shock because, she was the reigning champ for several years and holding that title. But it sounds like she's gonna try to, you know, she's not gonna sit down with getting second or getting
Yeah,
edged out of her first, her
love it.
her
She can
title.
go back for it.
She's
I
gonna
love
want to
it.
probably regain it, I assume. But with wellness, we had a new winner, and oh my goodness, like
Oh.
literally everybody was like blonde and red suits. It's so different than bikini, and maybe we should get into the bikini breakdowns of like the colors of hair and all that before we
Mhm.
dive in. Um, but at wellness, they were all blondes with red suits. I think there was like one suit color in first call out that was not red. It was
Yeah.
hilarious. Um, just to give you those stats real quick, I'm going to go over the suit colors just while we're on it. To segue into that. So bikini breakdown, there were 28% that were red suits, 30% dark blue, 14% green, 11% purple, 9% light blue, 16% pink, and then 2% was ombre. Did you want to take the hair colors or styles, whichever one?
Let's see.
I can do those if you want.
Yeah,
But
go.
69% is dark hair and bikini, 19% light, 12% light brown. And then the curly hair or wavy hair was like 68%, 25% wore straight, 6% wore their natural curls, and then there was the 1% updo because Valeria wore a ponytail, which was so strange. Um, and then 21% of the heels were plain, 41% were a scattered stone, and then 38% were fully blinged out. Uh, I found it interesting. There were more I found it is interesting that it was almost 50-50 on straps versus mules or strapless heels. So 44% wore straps on their heels, 56% were strapless, and then virtually no one went without a platform. So
Mhm.
just to give you that. And then do you want to go into the prize money of the top five Bikini Olympia? And we're also going to go over who got the top 15 because as we talked about in our prediction one, once you get 16, it's kind of like you don't know who's actually 16th, 17th, 18th. They're all 16, which I think with this big of a lineup, it's kind of a miss a little bit when you get to the pro level, right?
I
Like I
feel
can
like
understand it at nationals maybe, but
I mean, I feel like with this big of a lineup, maybe the judges still rank them and they just don't tell them. But can you
yeah.
imagine sitting
Well,
there ranking 78 or however
oh, I
many?
know. I know. I get it. I mean, I do get it. I see both sides of it, but anyway.
You know what I mean? That's okay. So, first place, Miss Bikini Olympia, Maureen Blanquisco, $50,000.
hmm
So, then second place is Ashlyn Little, got 20,000. Third place, Jasmine got 12,000. Fourth place, Amy got 7,000, and then fifth place, Ashley got 6,000.
Yeah. And I mean, if we want, we can kind of just roll through who those top 15 were. I'll go ahead and say that Laura Lee was sixth.
Mhm.
Evie Eskandar was in first call out. She got seventh. Vanya was also in first call out. She got eighth. And then from there, the rest of these people were in second call out. So Maria Acosta with ninth place, Ariana Brothers, 10th. Raina Perez 11th, Jordan Lee 12th, Jordan Brannon 13th, 14th was Sally Cato, and then 15th was Victoria Sase, I think is how you say it. So we got spot on with we got 11 out of 15 correct on our list. The ones that didn't make it were like Yulia Baba, Ali Vathauer, Adair were some of the ones that we had predicted. So it's funny. I it was like about we got all top nine finishers correct. So it was like once 10th place started, we were a little bit off on our predictions when we took that. But um, do you want to talk about just kind of like the recap of,
Mhm.
like what you thought about Marine, what you thought about Ashlyn, kind of the top five. Let's kind of break those down a little bit just so we can give our little thoughts on how how the judges kind of tried to figure this out.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I learned more about the Bikini Olympia sport from this Olympia than anything before. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
I, as I study this, because I was shocked when this came out, and it really forced me to really look at Marine's stage presence and posing, and her whole look. And it made me, I was just thinking about it before this episode, it made me think of bikini is almost a little bit like fitness in you are judged on two separate things. In fitness, it's just a little easier because you actually have two separate scores. You have your routine and your physique. In bikini, you have the physical aspect and your muscle tone and your shape and your conditioning,
Symmetry.
everything top to bottom physically that you can change. And then you have your presence, and that includes your suit and your hair and your tan and your jewelry and the way that you pose on stage and the your command of the stage. I was watching one person, it was, and I was trying to keep my notes of who I was. Oh, Stage Ready by Sean was her YouTube. I was watching her recap, and she made this comment of last year when Laura Lee came on the stage, it was Laura Lee's Olympia. Like it was just her show. This time when Maureen came on the stage, it was just her show. And she was there and she was like, look at me. This is me. I'm confident. She was beautiful. Her hair and makeup were perfect. If I had a Barbie doll, I would want it to look exactly like her. Like she just commanded the stage. Now, I was, of course, I'm more on the physique side of things when I'm coaching. And so I'm automatically looking at her waist and her glutes and all of these things that I think she has gotten like flack for from viewers and fans
Hmm.
of the sport, because she did not have the tightest waist. She did not have the most, I mean, from the back pose, her glutes were absolutely beautiful and full, and she had great tie-ins, and it wasn't too sharp or anything. I mean, I thought it was great. But like from the front, I didn't feel like from the front pose they were as bubbly as somebody like Laura Lee last year or something like that. And like just there were certain things I was nitpicking on her, and I think a lot of people were nitpicking. But when you took a step back and you saw like the whole picture, it really showed this year how important to scoring all that other stuff was. And I think we're only seeing that because we're looking at the Olympia and these are the top elite athletes. I'm not gonna say like somebody at like the NPC level could come in and just win from just stage presence alone if somebody else has a better physique, especially, but like when they're this close. But I did kind of feel like Maureen was on a stage by herself and everyone else was kind of trying to fit into the next four spots.
Hmm.
And I don't really someone made a comment, oh, it was the video you sent me from I forget his name.
James.
Yes. I believe he said one of the judges actually told him this, but I don't want to misquote, but that no one showed up 100% on
Hmm.
like physique wise. And you can
Yeah.
kind of see and watching people's breakdowns of comparing people to other shows where they showed up other times, it kind of does seem like nobody actually showed up 100%. So then when Maureen came and just captivated everyone, it makes sense why they put her in top.
So something I remember, Kim Seeley, who's a very well-known judge around here, and she's also a pro as well. But she always said, like it's not a good thing if your eye gets drawn to one body part, And I think the thing about Maureen is if you go from her toes up in the front pose and in the back pose up to her head, it is so symmetrical, and her symmetry, that just shows you that the judges are awarding that the most because when you even look at her compared to Ashlyn, um, and I mean, some of it is Ashlyn's the way that she kind of leans forward and puts a little too much weight on her like outside foot and not her like her front leg, the
Mm.
back leg a little bit. She leans a hair, but the way that Marine is so balanced, she may not have the most density like an Amy Delgado or an Ashley Kay in the glutes, but she has this like thicker skin. She has a skin texture that's like no one else's. I feel like it glows, and she I think is like right on par with the conditioning because a lot of people were like, "Oh, she's not like hard or blah blah blah," but like she just has that like glowy, fresh skin that it makes elegant lines. It's still like a balance between good conditioning. You can still see tie-ins, but it's also full. And I think like when she was in Pittsburgh, she looked a little off on her conditioning. She looked a little bit off on her fullness. So like she didn't quite look as muscular or as conditioned as the other athletes. But in this case, like it's like she brought both of those and she was perfectly matched, balance, shoulders and glutes, like everything fit together perfectly. So there wasn't really just like one standout body part where you're just like, that's a little off, like that's a little bit bigger than the other parts. Everything was perfectly matched. Um,
Somebody like last year, Laura Lee Chapados, like when you think Laura Lee, what do you think? Instantly, you think glutes.
right,
You know what I
exactly.
mean? And that's not bikini. I mean, it's not a glutes contest. It's
Right.
top to bottom. But just one thing
Right.
before you go on, the fact that she has thick skin, I love that it's a physical trait. But I also think she's very thick skinned. Like, I don't know if you saw her comment
Yes.
on her post on Instagram about I don't know if she even said this, but it was the quote unquote haters that were saying she shouldn't have won. And she bit back. She was like, I did win. The judges thought I should have won. I think I should have won. I followed all of the things. I did all the things. I deserve this." And I was like,
Boom.
yes.
Yes.
I feel like with Ashlyn didn't show up as refined, even as Ashlyn last year. Like when you look at her back pose, her hair's kind of messy a little bit. Her makeup was not like last year. If you compare her looks, last year she was looked so much more like Barbie dollish. This year, I mean, she still got second though, even with like messy hair, and I didn't think her makeup was super flattering. But which was the comment on a few of the competitors that like the makeup wasn't.
Yeah, not just her. Like it
Yeah,
was off
it
on
was just
all of the
few.
competitors' faces, like a lot lighter than their skin and their
Many factors, but
tan.
then she came with that physique and still got second place.
Yeah,
So
I mean, she looked phenomenal. I mean, kudos to her. I think it
yeah.
was well deserved for the second place. I was glad to see her in that spot and to move up. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think Jasmine,
Mm,
she really brought a beautiful package. I am a huge fan of her, and the fact that she maintained her third place, I think that was well deserved. She came in a lot harder. I think they had trouble feeding her at the Arnold, and I think they just really nailed it again this year and locked in that third spot again. I
her
think,
front pose was unmatched. Like
yeah,
she looked so beautiful and relaxed. I love when you see somebody just sit into a front pose and they don't look like they're tensing, they don't look like they're trying to hold it at all. She just
yeah,
looked chill. I don't think her I mean I think her back pose maybe got her third place, but like her front pose was
yeah,
killer. She looked
yeah.
so
Her
good.
abs look beautiful. Yeah, and speaking of posing, that really hurt them. I think that Vanya with the herniated disc, you could tell that she was really having trouble arching because she's usually a very balanced person too. She's not the most dense. Does usually have that it factor when it comes to posing. So it was kind of clear that something was painful for her, especially on the comparisons. You could really tell like she was trying to hold those poses without like having her back.
He had a herniated disc. She
Right.
posted it on
Yeah.
Instagram.
Yeah, that's what I just said.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, oh, sorry.
Yeah. 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 So, or maybe I didn't say it, but I thought I did. So
But
yeah, do you want to
she
talk
hit
about,
eighth place in the most prestigious competition in the world. Eighth place, top 10 with a herniated disc.
I know that would be difficult.
She had a fantastic physique to fit into the top 10 with that.
Yeah. And I mean, I think placed her in our minds higher just because she had won the Arnold. She'd won, and she'd gone against some of these athletes, at the Arnold UK. She won that. I think she must have hurt her back after that. And then it probably caused some issues like with training and with posing both. Did you want to talk about like Amy Delgado or Ashley Kay?
Yeah. So
Fourth and fifth?
Amy, I just love Amy's physique. But she is so dense with muscle. And just watching her move and her glutes, it's like pure muscle when she moves. And I mean, I did see some people say that she didn't come in quite her best at this show. She had come in other shows a little bit better. I d- I just don't know if they would give it to her. Maybe they would if she came in her best. But I do think if they gave Amy the first place, if she came in at her best, what would that do to I mean, she is very muscular to the standard. And
Yes.
another comment that I heard someone say too was for bikini, there is a standard, yes, but you can't necessarily look at Miss Bikini Olympia and try to make your body look like hers because it doesn't work for everybody. So you have to find your best physique within that standard. And so Amy's physique is very different from Marine's. But the judges somehow have to, if Amy was at her 100%, like Marine was, then they have to somehow do that. But I don't think that she was quite at this show, obviously. But I thought she looked absolutely fabulous. And then Ashley always looks great. She has an amazing shape. She is just a classic, just bubbly muscled. Her glutes and hamstrings are crazy. I did think, and then looking back, I've heard some feedback on this too from people, but I did think she came in a little thick, like not as lean as she usually does. And she has said herself too that the judges like her leaner. So I don't know why or I don't know if that's why she placed a little bit lower. But then I also have heard her say several times that this is the hardest prep she's ever had to do. So um, I think that was the only thing with her. I loved her suit, but I do know that she made this comment too, and a lot of people are saying that like, oh wow, her in blue. It was a green suit, and it was supposed to look green, but there were blue stones on it, and they just like came out in the lights. I thought it looked
Yeah.
great. I thought when you looked at the top five, just all the suits together looked really cool. Um,
Yes.
but yeah.
It was nice to see some differences. Like Maureen's
Mhm.
almost had dots on the green, and then Jazzy was in green, which she looked stunning in the green. It was nice to not just see a bunch of reds up there.
Blues, all blues.
Yeah, yeah, all of one color. So that makes so with this whole placement thing, Ashley does get 10 points, but she's already been Miss Bikini Olympia, so she's automatically qualified. Amy Delgado gets 12 points for
Mhm.
her placement, and then Jazzy, Ashlyn, and Maureen are automatically qualified, which obviously Maureen was already qualified since she has competed within the last 5 years of her winning the title previously. And so, yeah, with that, I think it'll be interesting for next year when you look at people like, Reina Perez. So, for example, Reina Perez didn't even make the top 10. She didn't even make it to the night show, but she's won 3 pro shows just this year. And it's like, that's insane because I'm I'm excited to see how these things pan out just because like Vanya, I don't know how many pro shows she's won, but I know she's like from Ukraine or somewhere over there. And I feel like when people qualify over in Europe and things like not or Asia, like not to discredit it, but it kind of doesn't always transfer when they come over to the United States, whereas like Maureen lives here, right? So and then Evie, even though she lives over there, she comes, from Europe a lot and goes to these top tier shows so that she's seen against, you know, these top Olympians and things like that. So I'll be curious to see just in the sheer fact that there's probably not two pro shows that most pros can even do overseas. So it'll just be interesting with the new points and the new qualification system and all of that. I'll be curious. I feel like it'll make a new spice to the to the whole
Ah,
mix with how people get qualified. And then before we kind of sign off, I did want to mention because Brooklyn, one of my friends that I met at North Americans, her and her mom both competed in Fit Model at North Americans. It was so cool. She's actually 35, but she has only competed in the Open. And I think she got fourth at North Americans, and she's been in the top five at like all the national shows she's gone to. And she's a natural, athlete. Like she's a pro in a natural division, and I just got to know her and her mom, and she ended up winning the D class in Fit Model at the Olympia Amateur, and then won her pro card. So I was really excited to see that. I felt bad for whoever was in
very
C,
cool.
Nicole Jennings. She was the only one that won her class that didn't get a pro card at the Olympia. And then the winner of A ended up winning, the overall. And I think Emma Henderson, the Class B winner, got second. And then, Brooklyn Goodsell, she got third. So I was really excited. I always love it when tall girls, and she's just so exotic looking. Um, she almost looks like a Greek goddess, like with her hair. It's kind of like that Jourdain, like jazzy, like hair. It's so pretty. But anyways, I digress. I just wanted to go over that. I couldn't believe like the caliber of the bikini as well with the amateurs. I don't know if you saw who won the pro cards, but
No,
even
I have
just like people that
not.
got second was like shocking, like so good.
Yeah,
They're ready to be go in the pro league, these
that's
winners from. So, it's always a mixed bag on the amateur side of things, like how many people show up and all that. And I felt like the quality and the caliber was like really up there. So, well deserved, and congratulations to all those athletes. So, I think there were 23 total pro cards that came out of the amateur Olympia, three to bikini, and then three to fit model. So,
wow, that's awesome.
yeah.
Good news for the future of our sport.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think we're a little bit over. Do you have any closing thoughts before we hop off or
I just think I think bikini is a sport that it's so deep and there's so many nuances to it and it's so fun to study and geek out to. And I think this year I'm very happy with Marine being the standard now. I think it was a great move for the sport of the bikini, even to show that the sport of bikini is what it is and it is not simply getting leaner and more muscular and denser and moving up towards figure just because we have this new category of fit model. And that's, I think, kind of where people were wondering if it would go. And I think by bringing it back to Maureen being our Miss Olympia, it is not. It is bikini. It is staying bikini. It will always be bikini. It's not going to turn into a mini figure competition just because,
mini wellness?
or mini wellness. Exactly.
Yeah.
Just because we have this new category coming in. So I'm really excited for this year and congratulations, Maureen. You totally deserve it.
Yeah. If you listened to this episode, you liked it, please leave us a rating and review. We always appreciate that. It just helps other people that are interested in similar topics find us. And if you feel it in your heart, please follow us on Instagram at Pro Life Podcast or at Glam Girl Bikini, and just tag us in your story that you listened to it. Let us know in the YouTube comments what you thought, how maybe your predictions were different, or maybe if you did kind of nail it. So we want to hear from you. And if you'd like coaching from either Lee Marie or myself, you can go to glamgirlbikini.com and hit the get started button. Thanks for listening, guys.